Welcome back to Relative Weddings Explained. I'm Aubrey Boyd with my wife, Deidre Boyd.
Hello, everyone.
And we're here with the engineer extraordinaire, Mr. Perry, and we're going to explain each chapter to you in detail and give you some backstory. I hope you like and enjoy.
All right, well, welcome back, everyone, to Chapter 9 of Relative Weddings, United We Remain. This episode starts out with Judy in a real funk after what happened at her wedding with having to tear her clothes off. And so basically she is wearing the same clothes, not the wedding dress, but she is wearing the same clothes day after day. She's not showering. She's not eating much. She's just really unlike her usual self. She's down in the dumps. So, Lucas comes back from his business trip early to make sure she's all right. And, they have a really nice conversation. And this is the first time we really get to know anything much about Lucas. But we get to learn that he seems to really care about her, and they go through the scenarios. Well, if this were to happen to you, I'd still love you, and if this happened, and so it's a nice way of getting to know who he is and a little bit about their relationship.
Yeah, which is really good to see because as Judy, as she has been described as the more upbeat, the more the person who's always happy, who's always looking positive, who's always has the energy and wanting to, portray that she's okay with anything as long as they're together. Her friends are there to support her, and as anyone would be on their wedding day if it didn't happen after all the effort that they put into it, and she knows how many people and what they went through to get to that day. And for that to happen, is very disappointing for her. She was very upset, almost angry, and that's just not her personality.
Right, and that kind of thing can spiral because you're upset, and it just kind of feeds itself.
Right, and her friends, they felt it. Everyone felt it. Everyone felt like they played a part in it a little bit. On the unsuccessful day that they were all so, excited for.
Yeah.
I just love how everybody tried to check on her, make sure she was okay. They know it was a horrible day for her, but even Hannah, who had a hand in getting the dress altered, still tried to check on her, try to make up with her, try to take her out because everybody knows she's in a funk.
Yeah, Hannah Lee has got to feel really bad about how that turned out.
Right, that was her person who made the dress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's never good when you're the one who vouches for somebody and things go south.
Yeah, and again, how hard they worked to raise that money.
Right, the twerkathon.
Yeah, her budget was the budget. There was no afterthought or what ifs. Like they said, everything was reserved and things had to be paid. There was no extra.
Yeah, there was no plan B, as in backup budget.
Or C, no.
Nope. So I'm curious a little bit about the fiancés here. Even though in this book we don't really focus too much on them, were they inspired by anyone in particular?
Not really. I just wanted gentlemen to compliment the ladies.
Yeah.
And their personalities. Plus, Teresa, she's so outgoing. She need have a guy more laid back. The yin and yang.
Right. It's true.
Yeah,
it's very true.
And Teresa really, Judy really saves a lot. And she's got a guy, Lucas, who's on the verge of really becoming somebody important.
Right.
Well, that's like Diamond in India, you could say. Julian is the yang to Diamond's yin. She's more upbeat, like you, and he's a little bit more laid back. And then India, she goes with the flow as well. Always happy, sees joy, but she doesn't take any mess as well.
Yeah.
So, I can, like you said, you can identify with someone in all these characters. It may not be them and who you're describing, but there's some similarities.
Yeah, for sure. My wife and I, once again, those areas where we're stronger and not as much so, definitely fits together like a good puzzle piece.
Takes a team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, like I said before, I like that we're getting to know a little bit about them, but they aren't the primary focus.
This book is about the girls.
Well, so Teresa has taken a very different approach, though it's also a very familiar one in that she's thrown herself into her work to keep from getting too depressed and frustrated about what happened. She's working extra shifts, and she just doesn't want to think about it. She just is going to power forward. And though obviously it still bothers her that things went the way they went, she's just not going to let it get her down. So, she's watching some horror movies, and which was a fun touch. I like that. And it seems appropriate for her. And also just kind of working her way through this in her own way as well. Talk to us a little bit about Victor and Teresa and how they kind of reconnect after what happened.
Well, on that one, Victor was, he was actually there for the wedding when it rained. So, of course, you want to check on her. And I made her personality so that instead of her being upset, she'd be more productive. She'll throw herself into her work. Don't look for any sympathy. She's just going to work through it and do another wedding. That's all she's compared about. It's not going to stop Teresa. She's going to do it with or without him. But he noticed that she still needs that gentle touch. She needs to know that someone has her back. She don't have to do it all herself.
Right. It wasn't a financial burden for her. Remember, she didn't spend a lot of money, only on her dress, but it wasn't a financial burden. It was more of the disappointment of that dream day did not come through. Again, it doesn't mention, but she was checked on as well, but she was more worried about her sister Judy and and how she reacted to it. Everyone reacts to disappointment and things that don't happen as planned in different ways. She threw herself into work, and Judy stayed home and sulked.
And I wanted people to catch this, and if they don't, really notice how Judy never really checks on Teresa like that. She never really asks her for money. She never really checks on her sister. Her sister, that wedding didn't work out either. There's something to kick at, because on the second book, I dive more into that. Reason why she doesn't.
Yeah, Teresa seems more like, not that Judy doesn't have a nurturing side to her, but it seems like Teresa definitely jumps into that nurturing type role or mothering type role.
Being a big sister, and plus it's going to be a little hit of jealousy as well. Because Teresa really has everything she wants.
Right. How far apart in years are they again?
A year.
Okay, yeah, so they're very close in age too, which makes a lot of sense. But it is interesting, much as we were talking before about, people have personalities, that, yes, there's the nature-nurture conversation, but we definitely have something imprinted in us that just comes with us. Because, someone can be raised by the same parents and be very, very different. And often they're kind of like their parents in one way or another. But I did think it was interesting that it seems like Teresa took on more of her dad's or stepdad's mannerisms, and Judy, I don't know, is she maybe more like her mother?
No, in the end, both of them got most of the traits from their stepfather, because remember, even Teresa might be more outspoken like him, but Judy learns how to cook and love all the music that he likes.
So they each took a side.
Yeah, they took the best qualities that they liked about him and they incorporated into their own life.
Yeah, whatever sort of complemented who they
what they loved about him the most, that's what they emulated.
Yeah, which again, it's very interesting. It makes it very believable. My sister and I both adopted from different parents, but raised by the same adoptive parents. Entirely different people, similar in virtually no way whatsoever. We're friends, but we're not alike a bit. And so it's a very interesting nature-nurture discussion, because you get a lot from who raises you, but you definitely come with something already
in your DNA.
There. Yeah.
My sister and I were raised together, the same parents, and we're two totally different people.
Yes. Yeah. And then when I met my biological parents, I definitely have some of their personality traits as well, which is interesting because I did not grow up with them. It just was, like you said, something in the DNA. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how people can be so different but yet be the same.
Yes. Yeah.
Inherited, it runs in the family.
And that's the thing, especially within families. And I knew someone who didn't find out she was adopted until later, but had always known she didn't fit with her family. And when she met her bio family, she was just like them in terms of like even her whole look. Like she was from New York, so she had big hair and big nails and, just a big personality. And her whole family, bio family, was like that. But the adopted family, not like that a bit. So it had all just
Send
been
the DNA.
Exactly. So I like I said, I like that exploration that's going on here. And to see people at their best, as we've seen them here, but also to see them at their worst, you get an idea of who people are, where Judy withdraws, Teresa reaches out. And so it's a very interesting look at who they are, in their, and how their fiancés respond to them in those moments too. Because what is it? Is it things are easy when everything is good, but when people are at their worst, if you don't know how to handle that, then a relationship.
I'll tell you something even more. I always believe in. I know when I was growing up, they said you can't stay with a woman unless you're married to her. They call it shacking up. But I was told anybody, before you marry anyone, live with them first.
Yeah.
Everybody's on their best behavior when they're on dates. They look their best. They smell their best. Live with them.
Yeah.
And see, now, do they pay the bills on time? Do they clean up? Do you really want to be? Because you can't only fake it for so long.
Do I?
You know? Because you got to be real.
We're still together, so I must have passed the test.
Yeah, it's true. If you when you're just sleeping over and stuff, you're maybe picking up your socks, you're putting your toothbrush in the right place, you're making sure the seat is down in the bathroom, things like that. But when you're living together, those things really come out, and
You see who they truly are then.
yeah,
I would advise anybody to do that before they get married, be honest.
yeah,
Live with them for a year, then you'll see.
it does. It makes a huge difference. And again, you get to see people at their absolute worst, the tough days, those hard moments, and if you can handle and not just handle that, but if you can be supportive during that and still be a partner, that means a lot, and it shows that the relationship is strong. And again, I think that comes through here in that both of the fiancés
Basically,
are
you know who
supportive.
rocks with you and who don't. I
Yeah.
mean, who's at your support and who don't.
Right, who's ride or die.
Well, it was good to see that both of them came.
Yeah, both of their men were there for them, so they picked the right guys.
All right. Well, thank you yet again for another great episode, and we will see everyone next week.
All right, thank you guys for listening, and please listen to more of our chapters in our podcast. Thank you.
Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Leave a comment as well.